Welcome to People Doing Good for Others, where we praise and celebrate and hold in the light those who are truly making significant differences in our communities. I'm Gary York, and I'm honored to be here with you. We want to thank Wilkes Communications, River Street Productions, and 100.9 WIFM for this opportunity. Our special guest today is Ms. Carol Walsh. She's a school counselor here in the Wilkes County system at Mountain View Elementary School. And I've had interesting conversations with her, and we're ready to share the specialness of the relationships at Mountain View Elementary with Ms. Carol Walsh. And you talked about going back to school today, and
Yes.
Tell us what you're going to be doing.
Well, as soon as I get back, I have a brand new kindergarten student that's enrolling today. And so he was just taken into foster care. And so it's a brand new move for him. So when I get back, it'll be getting his enrollment completed and checking on him, making sure he's comfortable at Mountain View being a red hot dragon.
Red hot dragon.
A red hot
Thank
dragon.
you very much. And this calling you have to be involved in public education, share with us how we started, if you will, Ms. Walsh.
Okay. Well, I actually started as working at the Department of Social Services when I graduated from college. And I worked there for 7.5 years. And then I kind of migrated into being a juvenile court counselor, working with those juveniles who are put on probation through the court system. And I loved working with those students, but I felt this calling to work with students before they get to that point, to try to make more of a positive impact on their life. And so while I was working as a juvenile court counselor, I went back to Gardner-Webb University and got my master's degree in school counseling, and have been in school counseling now for 17 years.
Okay. Expand on the Gardner-Webb experience,
Yeah.
and tell us more about some of the significant part of that advanced degree.
Okay. In North Carolina, school counselors are required to have a master's degree in school counseling. Okay. That is a 2-year program above and beyond your bachelor's degree. It's a 60-hour program along with an internship and a practicum also. So that I did that through Gardner-Webb while I was working full-time. And at that time, Gardner-Webb required you to go on campus and complete that degree. So as soon as I completed that degree, I went straight into an elementary school as a school counselor and have been doing this ever since.
Back to Gardner-Webb, would you drive there at night or on the weekend? Or
I would actually what I did was I carpooled with a couple of friends who were also going back, and there were 3 of us, and we would have to drive to campus 3 nights a week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you for that commitment level.
Thanks.
So you came to Wilkes.
I did.
Let's talk about that, if you will, and
Okay.
the school and some of the individuals maybe, or how about some mentors in your life too? Will you do that?
Sure, absolutely. I have several. I actually have been in Wilkes County 8 years. And I met a Wilkes County boy, born and raised, and married him, and so moved to Wilkes County. And the month that we got married, I came and interviewed with Helen Johnson at Mulberry Elementary School. At Mulberry, and was hired there, and worked with Mrs. Johnson. And then had another principal come, Mrs. Rebecca Maston came and worked under her. And then also had another principal come, Mr. Cornett, and worked under him.
Oh, Richie.
And so then Mrs. Maston was transferred to Mountain View Elementary School. And she found herself in need of a counselor, her 2nd year there. And so I would work for Mrs. Maston in any setting. She has a truly God-given heart for children. And so I transferred to Mountain View and have been, this is my 4th year at Mountain View with Mrs. Maston as my principal.
Ms. Walsh, also, how big is your school? How many teachers? The Hayes community? Talk about that a little bit.
I think the Hayes community is a small community. It's very rural. We have quite a large school. We have about 580 students at Mountain View Elementary School. We go from pre-K, the 4-year-olds, all the way to 5th grade. We have an awesome staff at Mountain View. We are the Red Hot Dragons, and let me show you what we look like. We're awesome. This is Mountain View Elementary School staff.
Wow.
Yeah. Every year at the beginning of the year, we do a staff development, and Mrs. Maston this year took us all to the theater and we watched Pete's Dragon because we are the Red Hot Dragons. So we've got some wonderful staff members. Yeah. Some of the greatest mentors I think in my life were the friends that I chose. I was born and raised in Florida, and a very small community, Leesburg, Central Florida in Lake County, and the friends that I chose, we are lifelong friends. We are still best friends. And so I think that's one of my platforms with my students, even still, is be careful in the friends that you choose, because they can help guide and direct your path in life.
So that's one of the values that you continue to communicate to this day with your youngsters that come for your counsel.
Yes.
Good. Your Baptist church.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your involvement there. I think that the faith-based part of what we're doing here, I think, is important. Tell us about it.
Absolutely. I am, my husband and I are both members in Deep Gap at Laurel Springs Baptist Church. We have a young pastor, Pastor Travis, congregation of about 250. And very active church. We live on that end of Wilkes County up on Red Top Road, and so the traveling distance is not that far for us. It's like 17 miles to our church from our home. Beautiful church. We have, a little youth ministry. We have the van ministry. We have women on missions. So we very active in our church.
Good for you.
Yeah.
As a school counselor, continued education is the most important part. Share with us today some of the opportunities to grow together, if you will.
Okay, absolutely. As a professional school counselor, we have 3 domains that we're responsible for. That's academic, the social emotional needs, and the career needs of students. And we have ways that we provide those services, our direct services, which would be through classroom presentations, where we would present to a whole classroom. Also individuals, we work with children individually. And we also do groups, and those are all direct services. We also have indirect services that we provide, and the way that we do that is through collaborating. The school counselors in Wilkes County are a wonderful group. We are under the direct leadership of Mrs. April Marr, and she's great about pulling us together and giving us time to meet together and to collaborate, because collaboration, of course, is a huge part of our indirect services. Other indirect services are referrals that we make for assistance. Those referrals can consist of all kinds of community services, whether it be Department of Social Services or our school nurses or the dental clinic, whatever referrals that our students might need. The big part that I like about advocating is several of us in the county also supervise interns and practicum students from Appalachian State University, who are in the school counseling program. In fact, 2 that I've had are now hired as counselors in Wilkes County. So Mrs. Heather Johnson is the counselor at C.C. Wright, and she was an intern with me through Liberty University. And Mr. Will Treen is a counselor at Millers Creek, and he was a practicum student with me last year. It is wonderful to see them come and continue on.
Ms. Carol Walsh, you talked about groups of children working. Give us some idea of
groups.
how that might, what you might do there
Oh, okay.
in groups of kids together.
Sure.
Talk about that.
Children, the way that I work it personally is I have my students tell me, what are some things that you'd like for me to help you with? And so when they do, I combine those lists for things that are similar. It might be several students have had a recent death in their family.
Okay.
And so I can pull them together and we can talk together and work in that. Some of them just want some coping skills. How do I deal with this friend who's always making me mad? And pulling them together and working at, our children are very resilient in knowing what some of their needs are when we give them the opportunity to let us know.
We're all conscious of bullying, and you just a little bit about how do we deal with youngsters that are being affected by it, and maybe those that are the bully. Just a little bit about that, will you?
Yes, I absolutely will. What we do at Mountain View is if we have a bullying incident, we deal with it directly on an individual basis. We are very proactive in teaching random acts of kindness, so that we are being proactive on the front end before the bullying ever starts. We do, in November, we do a Hero Week. And our Hero Week stands for helping everyone to respect others. And each day of that week, we highlight a different activity. One of the days, it's random acts of kindness. And right now we're doing school-wide random acts of kindness. Each classroom is in a competition to see which classroom can get the most whole class random acts of kindness done.
Really?
And I'll tell you what a sweet environment these Red Hot Dragons are. I have a 5th grade classroom, Mrs. Donna Wood's 5th grade students. My Bible study group went to his ministries here in Wilkes County, which is a place that feeds the homeless dinner every single night. And my Bible study volunteered to provide the dinner one night last week. Mrs. Donna Wood's 5th grade students colored and drew placemats for me to take to that dinner to feed the homeless.
Wow.
Yes. I have a 3rd grade classroom, Miss Melissa Legg's students. They have a student in their own classroom whose home was flooded. And so they're not able to use their kitchen. They're having to eat meals out, every single meal.
Wow.
That classroom got together and made soup for their classroom, and then they made a crock pot of soup for him to take home and feed his family.
3rd graders.
3rd graders.
You belong to state organizations
I
or
do.
involved in going to training. Let's visit that, if you will, and
Okay.
then even the national, if you'll put
Yes.
those two together
Absolutely.
for me.
I am also nationally board certified. So I have my national
Wow.
board certification along with my master's degree. Several of the counselors in Wilkes County, we are so blessed to have our national boards. I am a member of ASCA, the American School Counselors Association, and also the North Carolina School Counselors Association. School counselors, just like teachers, have to earn continuing education credits. The biggest place that we can get those is by attending our state convention, and we do that each year. That's held in November. I also was able to attend in July for the very first time the National School Counselors Conference, which was held in New Orleans. 2 other counselors from Wilkes County, Miss Lisa Lentz from the early college and Miss Kim Forrester from East High School, and I all got grants and went and attended this conference. It was amazing. I don't know how I'm going to pull it off yet, but I've got to go again. The information and the tools that we can get from these conferences, because you're bringing people from all over the country, counselors with all kinds of experience, and sharing their ideas and their programs, and then we get to bring it back here and share it in Wilkes County. So yeah, we've got to go again. I don't know how we're going to make that happen, but we're going to make
And
that
you
happen.
mentioned the CBLer
The CBLer
grant.
grant.
Talk about that. I think that's a tremendous asset in our communities.
That is such an awesome group of people. There was a Mr. Eller was a superintendent, and his family developed this grant that teachers can apply for. And people in education. And they really like to concentrate on those programs that we're able to bring back and share and help grow. So we wrote, the grant is available and open to anybody in Wilkes County. When it comes open, we applied. And we won. We were one of the winners of the grant. Yeah. So we were amazed. And then you come back and report to them, how you spent their grant money and how it benefits our county.
So all the counselors will come together and you will share the experience you had in New Orleans or in Raleigh.
Exactly. With Miss April Marsh, yes, she makes sure that we share everything that we're able to do.
Wow.
Yeah. I want to tell you something else I'm so excited about.
Oh, good.
At our school during Hero Week, my students, we always do a community service project. And so this year, we chose to do Treats for Troops, which is a program that I developed probably 17 years ago. My students donated their Halloween candy. They would bring in and donate Halloween candy. I had a box set up in the lobby, and for one, they're making a healthy life choice because they know they don't need to eat all of that sugar themselves. And so they donate their candy, and we send it to a serviceman overseas. We happened to choose one of my lifetime elementary school girlfriends that from growing up, her son is in the Marines, and he is stationed in Kuwait. So he was one of the ones that we chose. We sent him and his group 2 boxes of candy. One box was 12 pounds, and this is them receiving that candy.
Oh my goodness.
They were amazed at this candy. I'll tell you about how giving my students are. We had a little girl in our school who was homeless. She was only with us for that week. I got to witness her come by and drop a snack pack bag of Skittles in the donation box. And she didn't get to go trick-or-treating. It was one she got from a classroom party, and she donated that. So I went to the box to see what she had donated, and I saw that bag of Skittles, and I took it out. I carried it around with me in my pocket for about a week because it was just so special. And I shared that with Mrs. Maston, my principal, so she had to carry it around for a couple of days too. So when it came time to ship the box, I put a little note on that bag of Skittles just to let whoever got that bag of candy know that was a little first grade kindergarten homeless student that donated that. It went to those Marines, and those grown Marines said that they had to walk out of the room for the tears because it just meant so much to them. Wow. That's the kind of kids that we are growing at Mountain View Elementary School.
Ms. Walsh, you also shared that it's all about the positive.
It's all about the positive.
Let's revisit or visit that for us right now about the culture at Mountain View and how folks work together and how uplifting that spirit is.
It very much is, and that's all under the direction of Mrs. Maston. She's the one who has changed that climate at that school and has made it positive. We do the PBIS, the positive interventions, just like every other school in Wilkes County. We are very much about positive affirmations with our students too. They hear enough negatives from adults and on the news and in social media. So we're concentrating on positive affirmations and saying positive things to ourselves because that's what we want ourselves to hear. Mm-hmm. We also concentrate as school counselors on college and career. Even at the elementary level, we start that about how important it is to stay in school. And one of the things that we do at Mountain View is we have a graduation parade. And what we do is those students at North High, because North High School is the high school that our elementary school feeds into. So the school counselor at North High, Junior Miller, we call him Dr. Miller. Junior Miller and I collaborated to do a graduation parade where those students that are graduating from North High that attended Mountain View come back. And
Oh, my goodness.
my students at Mountain View, we decorate the school. We have banners and posters and streamers, and we lay out a red carpet, and they come in their cap and gowns, and they march through our hallways and our sidewalks while we cheer for them and have noisemakers and throw confetti. And it lets our students know too that once they get there to North High, they're going to get to come back and do this also. Any positive light that you can shine on staying in school, we're all about that at Mountain View.
Your middle school.
North Middle
Yeah,
is the one that we feed into. It is.
Is it nearby?
It is very nearby. That's such a small community area. And the counselor there is Mrs. Kim Welburn. She's an awesome counselor. In fact, she used to be the counselor at Mountain View Elementary. So it's nice for me to be able to tell my students that are nervous about going to the middle school, you already have a friend there. You have an advocate. Miss Kim Welburn is your counselor there.
Yeah.
So that's...
Ms. Walsh, restate those three things that you said we're called to do these three things about children. How about
the academics,
yes, let's do
the
that
social
again.
emotional,
Yes.
and the career.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're responsible for teaching children and helping children in each of those areas as school counselors.
Okay.
Some children struggle with academics. Giving them some tools and teaching them some ways to help get organized, especially at the elementary level. It's
Okay.
about being organized.
Organized.
Yeah. Attendance. And it starts there. It starts in elementary school because those are skills that we just build upon. As we all know, in middle school and high school.
Right. You talked about a scholarship program in the 5th grade.
Yeah. Well,
Is it time for that?
That's a goal of mine. Well, before we do that, I have one more thing I want to show you, because this is huge. Every year during our Hero Week, we end it with lunch with our superheroes. And that's another time that I collaborate with North High, and Mr. Jamie Adams is the Latin teacher there. He gathers any of the high school students that want to come and participate, that are his students. They dress up like superheroes. They get to choose whatever superhero they want to be. They
Wow.
come to Mountain View, and they spend the entire lunch session in the cafeteria with the students at Mountain View, eating lunch with them, dressed like superheroes. While they're there, they're having conversations with my students about making healthy life choices and about staying in school. And so my kids come back afterwards, some of them saying that was the best day of their life, and saying that they can't wait to get to high school so
be a
they can
hero.
dress up and come back. So you can see they choose
that.
awesome things. I mean, there's Batman and Cookie Monster and Paw Patrol, that Tonto and the Lone Ranger. They're great. They're beautiful. These kids, I don't know who enjoys it more. The high school students or my babies at the elementary level.
And also share with us what hero means.
Hero means helping everyone respect others.
Helping everyone respect others.
Yeah.
How wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
But my future goal,
Yeah.
and again, the school counselor at North High, Junior Miller, and I are collaborating on this. We don't know how we're going to make it happen yet, but I would love for my 5th graders to have the opportunity to provide a scholarship to a graduating senior at North High who was also a student at Mountain View. We don't know how we're going to raise the money for that scholarship, but how great would it be for my 5th graders to receive those applications and to choose the winners of those scholarships and then present those scholarships, tying the elementary and high school together again.
And to be involved in raising money.
Yes.
How
Yes.
wonderful that could be. Please visit your connection with each teacher, and kind of how does the day go? Just give us an idea of how a day might be for you.
I carry a walkie-talkie so that any teacher that needs me can call me on the walkie-talkie and get me, because I'm not always at my desk. I have an extension. Of course, they can call me on the phone. Teachers can call me any time of the day to see a child, to see them, whatever they need from me, I'm there. I'm at Mountain View Elementary School every day. We're not in any kind of a split position, which is a great opportunity for
Wow.
us also. I also present to my staff once a month at our faculty meetings on the different things that we're doing, and also just kind of enlightening them, and they're enlightening me, because we come from different backgrounds. You know, teachers training and counselors trainings are different, so how we can work together to serve our students best.
It's Christmas time.
Yes.
Let's spend a couple minutes on what's going to go on with your Christmas for Children at Mountain View.
At Mountain View, we're very fortunate. We have several sponsors that contact me every year. Mr. Roop from Ruritan contacts me every year, and he takes 6 or 7 names, and the Ruritan sponsors them. The local churches call and sponsor. North Wilkes High School called and sponsored several of our children. My staff is awesome about, do you have any kids who haven't gotten their name drawn for Christmas yet? Right now, we do referrals to Hope Ministries in Wilkes County. They will help serve families in need. So I think we have 65 referrals to Hope Ministries. I have 49 angels that have been sponsored
49.
so far. Yes, 49 individual students who have been sponsored. So there's a need, but there's also such a loving community out there that sees that our needs are met.
Ms. Walsh, so the kids we know about the kids, we find the kids that need the special help. How does this connection, would the Ruritan bring the gifts to the school, or how does that work?
They do. I give them an angel, which is the information of the child, whether it's a boy or a girl, how old they are, and also ask the child, what is, or the parent, what is something your child needs? Do they need a coat, shoes, clothes? What is something that they want? Because the child should also have something that they want. And then I also ask them, what kind of books does your child like to read, or does your child like to have read to them? Because we're all about education and their reading. So that's what we have on our angel list, is a need, a want, and a book. And so when a sponsor calls, I give them that list. They bring the gifts back to the school. I usually ask that our gifts not be wrapped, because as a parent, you'd like to see what your child is receiving.
Okay.
And sometimes if parents can wrap the gifts themselves, then they can feel like a part of that giving.
I see. Now, so we had 49.
49 so far.
And the other group, you had 2 groups?
I had the 65 that I referred to Hope Ministries.
Hope, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You also talked about Christmas cards to the nursing center. Did we cover that
We
one?
didn't, let me tell you. That's another random act of kindness. My kids, they will overwhelm you with their giving. I had a 4th grade classroom. Mrs. Calhoun's 4th grade students made Christmas cards for me to deliver to the nursing center villages. We're taking our Beta Club on Friday there to sing, and so I will be delivering those cards that 4th grade class made there on Friday.
Wow.
Yeah.
This
Just
has been
giving
such
back to their own community.
Such an enlightening experience today, and
Thank
we want to
you.
make sure we thank Wilkes Communications for this
Absolutely.
opportunity, and River Street Productions and WIFM, and the connection, one of the connections that today is our Superintendent Mark Bird.
Yeah.
And you talked about his huge heart and vision. Just a little bit about that, if you will.
Yeah, he and I connected during our Hero Week. One of the boxes of candy that we shipped was to an Army sergeant in Korea. And when I was telling Mr. Bird about him, I said, he was also a student at Mountain View. Can you believe that? And I said, and he went to North High. And Mr. Bird said, can you tell me his name? Because I might have been his principal. So I told him his name, and Mr. Bird was his principal. So I was able to give him that Army sergeant's address, and he in turn was able to send him a card. Mr. Bird has a vision for and a heart for our families and our students who have had adverse childhood experiences, and he is so in touch with training us and training the teachers in our community how to work and deal with these students and families to make our whole world just better in Wilkes County.
He has an awesome way of connecting people.
Doesn't he?
It's such a gift.
It's a gift.
It's a God-given gift.
It's a God-given gift.
That he can connect people.
It
and
absolutely is.
bring goodness out of a lot of times challenges, would you say?
Absolutely.
We have 15 seconds, and I want you to tell me about, or tell our wonderful audience about how your life is better because of this calling you answer.
You have a peace in your heart when you're doing what you're called to do. Who else can say that after 17 years, I'm excited at 5 o'clock every morning to get up and go to work?
Yeah.
My husband swears I would go even if they didn't pay me, but don't tell Mr. Burt that he can't pay me.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Carol Walsh, and for honoring Wilkes County and our school system, our communities and our families and our friends, and happiest among us are serving like you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the opportunity,
Take care.
Mr. York.